Hey YouTube, how the heck we doing? We're going to be going over everything for your Swift Scout Teemo in season 2026. This includes runes, items, roles, and how to generally play Teemo. So get ready for a lot of info. There's some new changes, not the craziest, but still enough, so make sure to pay attention. So we're going to start with the builds first, then we'll follow up with the runes after. So I looked over everything. I put together these builds for the Scout. Now, this is what I think is going to be the best because we don't know. We have to play the game and figuring it out together. But being a multi-role, multi-season challenger team, this is what my intuition will tell me. So we're going to start with the best build. So, and again, we're going to get into runes after. We're going to do builds first, runes after. It'll make all the sense by the end. This is going to be the best build. I intend this to be for top lane, mid lane, and ADC, since support and jungle work separately with the support item and the jungle item, right? So it's for top, mid, and ADC, the best build. So, one thing to note, you will not see Gunblade because for some reason it's not in the shop, but Gunblade is in this build. So, I do think we're going to be making the switch to Doran's Blade starting for season 2026. That is because Doran's Blade will stack nicely with the Gunblade, creating a good amount of sustainability, survivability in the form of Omnivamp. Now, again, Doran's Ring has been meta for a while. Darkseal had its time in the sun. These will be fine, right? It's not like you build these items you're trolling. I just think we're not looking for that level 1, 2, or 3 kill anymore, and we're looking to get that Gunblade item as our spike. So this will make your early game a little bit worse in favor of a better after the early game. Now, the big thing why we don't go Doran's Blade is because, oh my god, we're wasting the AD. AD on Teemo doesn't scale. Well, this isn't that big of a problem anymore because Gunblade is going to give you AD as well. So it's not like, it's a compounding effect there. If we're building 40 AD already, what's another 10? It's not like you're losing infinite value. Again, slightly weaker early game now, but I do think this will be the start. Now, for your boots, it's always going to depend on your runes when we get there. Remember, Berserker Greaves are for press the attack. Sork boots are for non-press the attack. You can always go defensive boots, but I think that's going into the niche category, the very specific. I want this guide to be good for everybody. I don't want this guide to be only good for challenger players. I want this for everybody. So when you go into defensive boots, it gets really niche. It gets really situational. We're trying to avoid that. So Berserkers for press the attack, Sork boots for non-press the attack. Now, again, Gunblade will be the first item. So this build, Gunblade is first. So we're going to use Dagger as Gunblade here. So this will be your Gunblade. Gunblade's going to be a rush item because of that AD. That AD will actually be useful in lane because you can build the Vamp Scepter, where building that Gunblade later in the game will be absolutely useless. So generally, I'm going to be rushing Vamp Scepter. Sustain is good, right, for laning phase. So it'll be Vamp Scepter into Gunblade, into Dusk and Dawn. This, to me, is just going to be replacing Nashor's Tooth, right? Because this if you look at this and Nashor's side by side, this is just more friendly for overall teamoing. 70 AP, 80 AP. No health, 300 health. 25 attack speed versus 50 attack speed, but I think 25 is more than enough. 20 AP, ability haste, 15 ability haste. This is the spell blade, right? This is the on-hit damage. This on-hit damage is very little. The spell blade's going to just be better because it applies your on-hit effect, which is all, it'll be damage with on-hit, also your poison. That's just made for team. So I think Dusk and Dawn is just going to replace Nashor's in every build. So again, it's going to be Gunblade into Dusk and Dawn. And then I have Void and Deathcap here, but really it's going to be situational. So this is always going to be fine, right? If you want just one build, okay, Gunblade, Dust of Dawn, Liandry's, Void's Death, Deathcap. That would be like your all-around build. However, I want you guys to be building situationally, right? These are my situational items. So, Gunblade, Dusk of Dawn, right? And these are actually situational. So it would be, hey, are they pretty tanky? Liandry's. Hey, are they stacking MR? Void Staff. Hey, do you need to survive? Hazanya's. Hey, are they all squishy and you're fed? Shadow Flame. Hey, would a Shroom build work good here? Malignance. Hey, do you have Dark Seal 40 stacks? Go Death Cap, right? So this is actually situational. Now, I will just put it here. This will always be good. So if you just want one build, Gunblade, Dusk of Dawn, Leandre's Void Set, Death Cap, that'll always be good. But I do think the situational approach is the best. This is what I will think will be the best build for season 2026. So if that's what you wanted to, hey, have a nice day. You got the info. However, I do think this build is going to have a lot of promise. This might be the Trojan horse. So we all know on Hit Teemo has been pretty bad recently. The items just don't make sense for on Hit Teemo. Well, that might change in the new season because Dusk and Dawn, again, is going to be perfect for Teemo. It is the perfect item for Teemo. So, there is a world we go on Hit Teemo instead of going tanky, we're actually going just full glass cannon with a Zanya's kicker. So, I'm going to explain the thought process in a second here. So, the start's going to be the same. For this build, you will always have to go Berserkers, which is on hit. Now, what I think will be the best on hit build, and again, this is the Trojan horse. This is my personal opinion. I'm gonna be testing this. It might turn out to be a dud, but I don't think it will. So, what I think will be the best is Rageblade first item. That gets everything rolling. First item Rageblade has been insanely strong for a while now. But and again, Dusk of Dawn is going to be an insane item, right? This item is tailor made for Teemo. It's going to be insane. This is why I think on Hit Teemo will be good because now we're replacing a bad option. Before this, our option was Wit's End, right? Runan's Hurricane, not really the strongest item. Replacing a bad option with a good option, that could change on Hit Teemo, right? So I think Dusk of Dawn second. And then it's going to be either Terminus third or Nashor's third. I'm not quite sure which, right? But it's gonna be one of these two. We'll have to test it. We're gonna do Terminus for now, and then Zanya's kicker. So the whole theory of this is, hey, on hit Teemo is hard to play and it's bad because you have to auto a lot as a squishy Teemo. Well, I think this season we might just nut up and get it done. Oh, Chevy just grabbed a sweeter toy. We'll show him in a second. This season, I think these items might be worth that risk, right? Quality item Rageblade, quality item Dusk of Dawn, quality item in Terminus. These items might be worth the risk of potentially dying. But I do this in my games where I go full AP, full squish, but I have the one Zanyas as a defensive. Because if you can use this Zanyas properly, you can survive any game, any team fight, right? You don't have to go into the traditional tanky options, the Dead Man's Plate, the Force of Nature, the Abyssal Mesh. You don't have to go into those tanky options. Use this as your one tank option. So I think this will be a brave build, right? We're gonna have to work it out together. Again, I think it's gonna be these three into Zanya's, and the Zanya's is movable, right? So if you feel like this is enough damage, you need survivability, it can work like this. That gives it flexibility, right? You can go Zanya's third item if you feel like you already have the damage, right? Or if you need more damage or you don't feel threatened, you can go Zanya's fourth item, fifth item, right? But I think this might, again, I'm feeling really strong about this build potentially being the dark horse. So this is what I think will be my favorite build. This is on hit Teemo. And also, you're just a badass saying, hey, I can play on hit, right? So this will be for top, mid, and ADC as well. This will also be for jungle, right? Because jungle, this build path is the same, right? Now, Gunblade, right? Gunblade, we might be working to this build. We might not be. I'm not quite sure yet if you need Gunblade for on hit Teemo. We're gonna have to see where Gunblade fits in this. If we need it, if we don't need it, that's where the dark horse element comes in, right? Is it Gunblade first item? Then we build our attack speed. Is it Gunblade, not in this build and we go full glass? We'll have to find out. And we'll see, right? But this is gonna be my dark horse, and you guys can join in. Is this gonna be broken? Are you gonna try it? I think this will be the ticket. Now, those are the common builds, right? So I'm not gonna go over every single item that could be good or could work out. For example, right, this item Actualizer is not going to be good on Teemo. That's going to be strictly for fun. Ludens, I think, will be underwhelming. Why would you build Ludens when you could build Malignance, right? Lichbane is going to be outdated. Dusk and Dawn is just better. This is not actually in the game. This is arena only. Where are the other new items? I think there's one more we're missing, perhaps. Or Horizon Focus, right? It kind of just falls flat. So I'm not going to include all the items that I don't use, right? I think these items are just under the tier, right? So now one build I left out is full AP Teemo, right? If you notice here, you don't see a full AP Teemo. What I mean by that is no attack speed items, right? There are some Teemo players that are going no attack speed. So like Malignant's first item into just Void Staff, Leandre's, all that. I don't think that will be good in season 2026. I don't see how you don't build. That is double negative. You should be building Dusk and Dawn for every AP build. This item just looks insanely good, right? So full AP Teemo with no attack speed, I don't think that is going to be playable. I don't see why you should do that. I feel like you're just gimping yourself. It also just feels like crap, right? So I'm not going to be including that here. I'm not going to make that build. I think it's bad. You know, if you build it, it's like the beauty of Teemo is that every Teemo build will work. So you can build no attack speed and still climb. That's fine. But I'm talking what are going to be the best builds here, right? I'm talking the best of the best. So now we move on to Teemo Jungle, right? Teemo Jungle, very specific build with the power spikings and how you approach the game. So Dusk and Dawn, again, off the rip. Now you're going to notice something here. No Gunblade. You do not build Gunblade in the jungle because you do not need the Omnivamp. That's the big one. You don't need Omnivamp. You heal from the camps. No Gunblade in the jungle ever. If you build Gunblade in the jungle, you're messing up. It just won't be worth it because you already heal from the camps. You're already full HP all the time. That little bit of Omnivamp you get from a team fight will not be worth it. So no Gunblade in the jungle. That's a big deciding factor. And then again, you do the situational build. Now in the jungle, right, you can go 2 pages, which we'll get to. Same as always. Berserker agrees for pressy attack, Sork boots for non-pressy attack. And again, situational build. Now, again, with the on-hit build, right? When we go on-hit, this might be better. So this Teemo Jungle build is the best build, right? Same thing without Gunblade, but this could very well turn into on-hit Teemo build. So again, I think the best build, it will be the best on spawn, but the on-hit Teemo might be better. So these are going to be the 2 builds I'm rocking, right? I'm going to be doing some variation of these 2 builds. They're pretty similar, so you can't really go wrong. And again, the difference between jungle, right, because we're a multi-role gamer here, no Gunblade. Now, last but not least, support. Support's very unique. Support is a 1 to 2 item power spike only, right? 1 to 2 items. You can rush Malignance first, or you can rush Leandre's first. That's it. That's all you're doing, right? So I prefer Malignance first. I like the more damage. But if you prefer Leandre's, that's fine. And then if you get the 2 items, you just build the other one. The reason why you rush these 2 items because they are all in the base damage, right? Their damage is flat. Their damage doesn't scale off of AP. It's like, hey, you get this damage, you get these stats. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So you build these because they're good base damage items. You could rush either first. It doesn't matter. Build the other one second. I put my default boots as Swifties. I'll be honest, it doesn't really matter. Like, there's an argument if you want to build Lucidity Boots, or that's fine, because you get more mana from that support item. That would be fine. If you want to build Sork Boots for more damage, that will be fine. Want to build Berserkers for more autos, that would be fine. Totally up to you. I put Swifties here because I like to roam, but really, the boots does not matter. And support Teemo, again, it's in its own ball game. So that will cover everything. On-hit Teemo and best build will be top, mid, and ADC. Teemo Jungle is by itself in the jungle. Support's by itself in the support. Again, best build will for sure be the best build on spawn. On-hit Teemo will be our Trojan horse. So now we're going to go with the runes to pair him with. The runes now, which I have all set up as well. So Teemo has a pretty concrete meta, and these runes don't change from season 2025. So it's just a refresher more of changes. We are seeing outdated runes be phased out. Nobody is really using Fleet anymore. It got nerfed to an oblivion. Lethal Tempo has always been worse than Pressy Attack. Electrocute is sleeper in my opinion, and we'll get to that. Hail Blades unfortunately has been nerfed. Look at that nerf. Range champs get 80%, melee champs get 160. That's complete BS. This rune has been shot and killed for Teemo, right? And then Ares just outdated, although I think Ares good. People don't really use it anymore. It fell off, right? Grasp got nerfed to the ground. It gives 40% value as a range champ, and that got nerfed recently as well. So just fell off, right? Phase Rush also got nerfed. First Strike is one of my all-time favorite picks, and I think it has its uses, but again, very niche. I want this to be general guide. So those are all the runes you're not going to use and why you're not going to use them. They just all got nerfed to oblivion. These are the runes you will be using. So start with the most popular. Press the attack, right? Press the attack has been a staple for Teemo. Getting 3 autos is very manageable. Auto, 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 then Q, right? Or auto, Q, auto, auto, and you get 3 procs and all that damage. It's a staple for Teemo. Teemo is best defined as a marksman mage, right? Because you have to auto, but you also have that full AP element to you. So he's kind of like a blend of a marksman mage. Press the attack lends itself well to that. So I like to go Triumph, although Absorb Life is also fine. Alacrity is a go-to. I like to go Cut down a lane, but realistically, it doesn't matter. They're all kind of whatever. Now, the secondary is totally up to you, right? Secondary for top, mid, ADC, and support, right? This is for all lanes. Jungle will be separate. So top, mid, ADC support, the secondary is up to you. And there's a couple different combos you can use. You're going to be the most common. Right? The most common is Solarian Nimbus Cloak. You have a lot of movement speed, right? This would be good versus a Darius top, right? You're versing a Blitzcrank support. You're versing a Syndra mid. You have to dodge. This will be good if you have to dodge, right? Movement speed's always good on Teemo. Absolute Focus is also good if you want to pop off early game. Absolute Focus Manifold Band will be fine as well, right? Popular combinations. You can also go for a Shroom setup, right? Taste of Blood Ultimate Hunter. This would be good for your Shroomies. Then you also have a tanky setup, which I don't recommend. I think this is kind of fell off a little bit. But you can go tanky, where you go Overgrowth for more HP. You go Bone Plating or Second Wind, depending on your lane. And then, of course, you have a scaling setup, right? Biscuits and Cashback is a popular scaling setup. You can go Tonic and Cashback. I don't recommend this page. I think that's a little bit too crazy. But it really doesn't matter your secondary runes, right? So kind of pick whatever is favorite. Don't stress out about it too much. You can go with the old, I'm going to pick one rune page and one build for every game. That's viable. Or you can do it by lane. That's also viable. Totally up to you. Now, the shards, you always go for the first attack speed one. It's infinite value. This will always be better than 9 AP or the haste. This secondary shard has been generating a lot of buzz, though. The movement speed shard is viable. Because 2.5% movement speed when you have 400 movement speed is a lot. I'm not going to embarrass myself and do the math. But movement speed shard is actually viable. It is weaker early game, stronger general gameplay, right? So feel free to use that if you'd like. Scaling health is always the go-to, right? You're going to get your levels. If you're playing support, you should go flat health. But scaling health is going to be the go-to for everything else. So this is the most common page. You pair Press the Attack with Berserker Boots. You have an insane power spike for 1100 gold, right? Most common page for sure. Now, top and mid, the second rune page. Again, the secondary spiel is going to be the exact same. Go whatever the heck you want. But I think Electrocute is one of the most slept on rune pages, right? It does a pretty considerable amount of damage. And for Teemo, you auto Q auto. That's a clean combo. Auto Q auto, you pop Electrocute. So I do recommend going Electrocute when you have lanes where you can't auto that much, right? Electrocute versus Cannon is going to be so much better than Press the Attack, right? Now, keep in mind, this is for top and mid only, right? I don't recommend this for ADC and support, all right? Very big deciding factor here, because top and mid is a slower paced game, right? Top and mid, an Electrocute trade level 1 could decide the lane. An Electrocute trade level 6 could decide the lane, right? So Electrocute will be big punch, big value, big damage. Now, Dark Harvest, I do recommend this for ADC and support. The reason why is because it's not going to be as strong level 1 or for that punch, but the upside is crazy, right? Bot lane with ADC and support, you have 2 chances of getting Dark Harvest if a fight goes well. Also, this is used top and mid as well. It's just less boom and more just like general gameplay, right? So Dark Harvest is going to be the most popular. A lot of people run it. It's good for top and mid. I don't recommend using it top and mid all too often unless the lane is really non-threatening. I'd rather have the electrocute for the top and mid, but you can run Dark Harvest for top mid, and you definitely should run it for ADC and support if you're not going to go the pressy attack route. So again, a lot to handle. Let's just break it down so far. Little midway stop. Items, we have our builds, the runes. You have top mid ADC support press attack, top mid ADC support jungle, top mid only electrocute. Now the jungle pages are going to be completely different, right? Jungle's very specific role, and Teemo Jungle is popular. You have 2 pages for that. Start press the attack. This is going to be early game focused, right? Early game page, early game. I want to win the game early. I want to fight early. Press the attack's going to be your biggest punch. Look at the secondary. There's been a shakeup recently. A lot of people are still running old tech. This was the old tech here, right? Boots, Cosmic Insight. This attack is now outdated. Triple Tonic is shrimply better than Cosmic Insight. At level 3, you get 50 gold. The Elixir of Avarice gives you 50 gold flat. You also do more damage to minions, right? Level 6, you get an Elixir of Force. That gives 30 AP, if I'm remembering correctly. So you have a one-time I'm stronger than you card. Level 9, you get an extra skill point. This is just better than having more smites because you're not going to use item haste. Having more smites, the Summoner Spell haste, is just not as good as Triple Tonic. So this is included in every jungle room page. Because you don't need to have Celerity, Nimbus Cloak. You don't need these. You don't need movement speed to kite the camps, right? There is why this is the page or jungle. You don't need these 1v1 aspect room pages. You're not going to need bone plating for a jungle camp, Celerity, Nimbus Cloak for a jungle camp. So you go for general health of the game. So this is my press attack jungle page. And again, same secondary here. You can go movement speed, but again, I like the 9 AP for faster clear. And then Dark Harvest has been picking up. I'll be transparent. I like Pressy Attack better. I like playing for the early game. But Dark Harvest has its value, right? When you get rolling, Dark Harvest is the best rune. It's the best rune when you have over 20 stacks, right? I just would rather play the early game. That's my play style. But both are correct. So that is going to be every rune and build for Teemo, top jungle mid ADC support. Now, again, new season, a lot of craziness is going to come on. Check the stream in a week. Check the YouTube videos in a week. Maybe some sleeper item is broken, right? Maybe we were wrong, right? Maybe the Teemo console decides that this build, that build. This is just my first impressions, my intuition on what I think will be the best builds, what I think you should be running off the rip. So go out there and go win some games. Let's have a happy season 2026. And I'll catch y'all every day on the YouTube and stream for some freaking fun this season.